What's up everyone, we're going to be going through the best WNBA player props on PrizePicks today. Now I did want to show you the results from yesterday's picks from my exclusive Discord group, and as you guys see, we actually got 20 picks correct, which was absolutely insane. So we're on a huge hot streak, but if you want to get 20 picks right like me, win more bets and receive the best picks from some of the best bettors in the world for less than a cup of coffee, you can access the exclusive Discord and meet some of the best sport bettors in the game by joining my Patreon, which should be linked down below in the description. Once you join, you'll have complete access to the Discord and can start winning more bets today. So make sure to join my Patreon using the link in the description. And here's one of our members who just signed up and won himself $483 just yesterday, and another member who won $540 for the 7th day in a row since joining my Discord. So guys, if you want to win big money like our members, the link will be in the description, so go join the Patreon to have access to the Discord group, and I will be continuing to upload every single day on this channel the best bets and props, so make sure to subscribe so you don't miss my daily uploads. So quick shout out to Wnba Telly, who said, been on all your videos lately, my guy. Let me get that shout out next video. I trust the process. So shout out to him, and also shout out to D Nice IC1UF, who said, yo, I just joined, making me a believer. So shouts out to them, and if you do want to win a shout out in the next video, all you have to do is comment down below in this video and like it, and you can be in the running to win a shout out in the next one. All right, so let's get straight into the first pick. And when it comes to these picks, I'm not saying to chuck all of them into a parlay and hope for the best. Pick and choose the ones that you like and the ones that work best for you. So the first pick we're going to talk about is none other than Tiffany Hayes, and this one is for 3-pointers made for 1.5, and this one actually is for less. Now, looking at Tiffany Hayes, we've actually seen her go on the under in 3 out of the last 5 games. Now, looking at those 5 games, we see on July 17th, faced off against Seattle Storm, had 1 3-pointer made there. Then July 26th, faced off against Dallas, had 2 3-pointers made. Then July 28th, faced off against Connecticut Sun, had 0 3-pointers made there. July 30th, faced off against ATL, and then had 3 3-pointers made there. And then August 1, faced off against Washington Mystics, and had 0 3-pointers there. So it is pretty interesting to see. Now, looking at someone like Tiffany Hayes, we do know she does play for the Golden State Valkyries, and they do face off against the Las Vegas Aces. Now, just also let you know, when it comes to Golden State Valkyries and also Las Vegas Aces, both of these teams, this is the only game for today, so a lot of the picks are going to be from this matchup. But looking at, so we do know that Golden State Valkyries do actually rank 8th when it comes to the WNBA, but they do rank 5th in the Western Conference. Now, they have a record of 14 wins and 14 losses. That is a 50% win percentage. On top of that, they are 8-4 from home, 6-10 from away, and are currently on a 1-game losing streak. Now, looking at their matchup, Las Vegas Aces, we do know that they come in at the 7th spot in the WNBA and also have a record of 15 wins and 14 losses. That's a 51.7% win percentage. They're also 8-5 from home, 7-9 from away, and are currently on a 1-game win streak. So looking at both of these teams, they are pretty tightly matched, and coming into this matchup, it's definitely going to be an exciting one. But looking at Las Vegas Aces and where they do rank, we do know that the Aces do rank 11th when it comes to 3-point percentages allowed. They actually rank 4th when it comes to 3-point attempts allowed, and they also rank 6th when it comes to 3 points made allowed. So although Aces do rank a little bit low in that 3-point percentage allowed, they do rank pretty well in attempts and makes, and for that reason, coming into this matchup, we do like the under for it. Another big reason is that when you look on a per position basis, we do know that Tiffany Hayes is a guard, and Las Vegas Aces do a fantastic job at restricting 3-point make, 3-point attempts, and 3-point percentage to the guard position. So that's a big reason why we do very much like the under for this one. Looking at her average over the last 5, it is also 1.2, so it has been a little bit on the lower side for Tiffany Hayes as of recent. Her usage rate hasn't really been there, and also her shooting in general just hasn't really been up to par, and it's definitely taken a huge effect there. So coming into this matchup, we do very much like the under for this one. Now, looking at this matchup as well, we are expecting Aces to really continue play that great defense that they do play on guards, and it should have a massive effect on someone like Tiffany Hayes. So Tiffany Hayes, 1.5 3 points made for less, I think is a fantastic pick. Now, getting into the next one, we're actually going to be talking about none other than Jewel Lloyd. So, as you all know, Jewel Lloyd, great player from Las Vegas Aces. And this one is a fantastic one for actually 3-pointers made as well for 1.5. And this one actually is for less. So, this one is an interesting one as well. We actually have seen her over the last 5, go on the under in 2 out of the last 5. And we see on July 26th, faced off against Minnesota Lynx, actually had 0 3-pointers made there. July 28th, faced off against Dallas, had 4 3-pointers made there. July 30th, faced off against Los Angeles Sparks, had 2 3-pointers made in that matchup. August 3rd, faced off against Minnesota, had 1 3-pointers made there. And then August 4th, faced off against Golden State Valkyries and had 7 3-pointers made there. So it is pretty interesting to see. Now, looking at someone like Jewel Lloyd, we have definitely seen her go on the under, quite a couple of times. And some of the games that she did go on the over, it wasn't really that convincing enough to us, only by 0.5 over. Now, her average over the last 5 is 2.8, but it's definitely because she did have a breakout game against Golden State Valkyries recently, where she did have 7 3-pointers, but that was a little bit of an outlier type game. Now, looking at this matchup, we do know where both of these teams do rank, but, just to reiterate again, Aces, we do know they come in at the 7th spot in the WNBA, but 4th in the Western Conference, And looking at them, obviously they have a record of 15 wins and 14 losses, but over the last 10 games, they actually have a record of 6-4. Now, looking at Valkyries, we do know they rank 8th and also 5th in the Western Conference. And when you look at them, they actually have a record of 14 wins and 14 losses. Now, that's a 50% win percentage, but on top of that, they also are 8-4 from home, 6-10 from away, and the last 10 games they do have a record of 5-5. So it has been pretty interesting there. Now, looking at this matchup even further, we also do know when it comes to someone like Jewel Lloyd, we definitely have seen her do a decent job throughout the regular season. But coming into this matchup against Golden State Valkyries, we do know Valkyries do rank 7th when it comes to per 3-point percentage allowed, 13th when it comes to 3-point attempts allowed, and then when it comes to 3 points made allowed, we actually do see that they rank 12th. So obviously, looking at Jewel Lloyd and also the matchup against Golden State Valkyries, although Golden State Valkyries do rank low in all 3 categories, we do know that they actually do a fantastic job at restricting 3-pointers to the guard position. Now, don't get me wrong, it is very obvious Jewel Lloyd did absolutely smoke her line in the most recent game against Golden State Valkyries, but we tend to see that being an outlier game. And as I've always said, there will be times where players do beat their lines, and that was definitely one of those games. But coming into this next matchup, especially a back-to-back for them, we are expecting Golden State Valkyries to make some adjustments, try to restrict Jewel Lloyd as much as they can, and we should see a more probable outcome, which is for her to go on the under. So coming into this matchup, we do very much like the under for this one. When we look at what the bookies are saying, bookies also have her favored for the under as well, so that works out in our favor there. So Jewel Lloyd, 1.5 3-pointers made for less, I think is a fantastic pick. Now, getting into the next one, we're actually going to be talking about A'ja Wilson. So A'ja Wilson, great player, and this one is for 9.5 rebounds, and this one actually is for over. So looking at A'ja Wilson, we have actually seen her go on the over in 3 out of the last 5 games. Now, looking at those 5 games, you see on July 26th, faced off against Minnesota Lynx, had 8 rebounds there. July 28th, faced off against Dallas, had 10 rebounds there. Then July 30th, faced off against LA Sparks, had 10 rebounds. August 3rd, faced off against Minnesota, had 5 rebounds. And then August 4th, faced off against Golden State Valkyries and had 14 rebounds there. So we actually have seen A'ja Wilson do a fantastic job being able to go on the over quite consistently. That her average over the last 5 is also 9.4, so very close to her line. Now, we do know this matchup, Aces versus the Valkyries, as we do know. And, as we all know, we do know where they rank. Aces rank 7th in the WNBA, but 4th in the Western Conference, while Valkyries rank 8th in the WNBA and then 5th in the Western Conference. Now, Aces, we do know, have a record at home of 8-5 and a record of away of 7-9, and then Valkyries have a record at home of 8-4 and then away of 6-10. So, looking at both of these teams and looking at Golden State Valkyries when it comes to rebounds, so we do see that Golden State Valkyries do actually rank 7th when it comes to rebounds allowed, and that's why we do very much like the over for this one. Golden State Valkyries are a very poor rebounding team, and on top of that, they also do a very, very poor job at restricting rebounds to the center position. So we are definitely expecting someone like A'ja Wilson to be able to go on the over, and we shouldn't really see her have a struggle there. When you look at, like I mentioned, A'ja Wilson's most recent game facing off against Golden State Valkyries, she actually had 14 rebounds in that matchup. 14. So absolutely smoked her line, and we are expecting a similar outcome once again in this next matchup, as Golden State Valkyries don't really have any answer for defense when it comes to rebounds. They're a poor rebounding team, and we are expecting them to not really do a great job against A'ja, so we are expecting her to be able to take advantage of that. So keep an eye out for A'ja Wilson. 9.5 rebounds, 4 more, I think is a fantastic pick. So as you all know, I do want to get these picks out to you as soon as possible, but PrizePicks is delayed with some of their lines. So here are a couple of players you should definitely watch out for when their lines drop. So the first player going to be talking about is none other than Dana Evans. Now, as you all know, as I've mentioned, there is only one game for the WNBA, so all the players that we are going to be talking about are from the same game. But looking at Dana Evans so far this season, we actually have seen her do a fantastic job, averaging 6.4 points, 1.1 rebounds, 2.1 assists, and also 0.4 steals. So she definitely has done a fantastic job there. Now, when we look at the Las Vegas Aces, we do know that they face off against Golden State Valkyries. And looking at this matchup more in depth and where they do rank, just to remind you all again, we do know Las Vegas Aces do come in at the 7th spot in the WNBA, but they do rank 4th in the Western Conference. Now, they have a record of 15 wins and 14 losses. That's a 51.7% win percentage. On top of that, they are 8-5 at home, 7-9 from away, and are currently on a 1-game win streak. Now, they face off against none other than Golden State Valkyries, and Golden State Valkyries on the other side do come in at the 8th spot in the WNBA, and they also have a record of 14 wins and 14 losses. Now, that does put them at the 5th spot in the WNBA as well when it comes to the Western Conference specifically, and looking at them, they also have a record of 8-4 at home, 6-10 from away, and are currently on a 1-game losing streak. So it is pretty interesting to see. Now, looking at Dana Evans and this matchup, looking at Golden State Valkyries and where they do rank defensively, we do know Golden State Valkyries do actually rank first when it comes to points allowed, 5th when it comes to assists allowed, and then rebounds allowed, they do rank 7th. So surprisingly, they do actually rank very high when it comes to points, but when it comes to actually rebounds and assists, they do rank a little bit less. Now, coming into this matchup, it's definitely going to be an exciting one, but coming into this one, we do actually like the under for someone like Dana Evans coming into this matchup, but strictly just for points. Now, a big reason being for that is due to the fact that when it comes to Golden State Valkyries, they just do a fantastic job at restricting points. Rebounds and assists are a little bit worse, but when you also look how, or someone like Dana Evans, who doesn't really have the highest usage rate in this Aces team, we are expecting other players in the Golden State Valkyries to actually, provide more of that scoring, and Dana Evans may not get the same amount of volume that we usually tend to see from her. Now, looking at her last 5 matchups, we have seen her play some pretty interesting teams. We see on the 26th, faced off against Minnesota, had a 109-78 loss there. Then had 8 points, 4 rebounds, and 5 assists in that matchup. Then on the 28th, faced off against Dallas Wings, had a 106-80 win with 5 points, 3 rebounds, and 3 assists there. And on the 30th, faced off against LA Sparks, had an 89-74 win with 10 points, 1 rebound, and 1 assist there. Then on the 3rd, faced off against Minnesota, had a 111-58 or 111-58 loss against Minnesota with 1 point, 1 rebound, and 4 assists she had. Facing off against Golden State Valkyries on the 4th, had a 101-77 win with 7 points, 1 rebound, and 4 assists there. So it is pretty interesting to see, looking at someone like Dana Evans, we definitely have seen her do a fantastic job time and time again. But coming into this next game, it's definitely going to be an interesting one, as we do very, very much like the under for this situation. Now, they did most recently play, and she did actually slightly go over on her points average, having 7 points. points. Now, she did get a little bit lucky in that matchup. Obviously, as I always say, there will be times where players beat their lines or beat their more probable lines, and that definitely was one of those games. But we are expecting in this next one, Golden State Valkyries to really, latch on defense and try to restrict it as much as they can. So for that reason, definitely keep an eye out for the under for Dana Evans, but strictly just for points. Now, getting into the next player, we're going to be talking about Kayla Charles. So Kayla Charles, great player from Golden State Valkyries, as we all know. Now, she's done a fantastic job, averaging 5.7 points, 4.2 rebounds, 1.2 assists, and 0.5 steals. So she's definitely done a fantastic job there. Now, looking at something like this, we do also see that Golden State Valkyries face off against the the Aces, as we all know. But looking at this matchup more intensely, we do also see that when it actually comes to this matchup, talking about rankings real quickly again, we do know Golden State Valkyries come in at the 8th spot in the WNBA, while the Aces do come in at the 7th spot. Now, looking at their last 10 games, however, so obviously we know, Valkyries' record overall is 14 wins, 14 losses, but over the last 10 games, they've actually had a record of 5-5. Now, Aces do rank 7th, as we mentioned. Now, they have a record of 15 wins and 14 losses, so only 1 win extra. Now, they actually have a 6-4 record over the last 10 games. So it is pretty interesting to see there. Now, coming into this matchup, we do still very much, like this situation for someone like Kayla Charles, because looking more intensely at Las Vegas Aces and where they do rank defensively, we actually do see that the Aces do rank 9th when it comes to points allowed, 9th when it comes to assists allowed, and then rebounds allowed, they do rank 11th. So they rank very low in all 3 categories, and for that reason, we do very much like the over for this situation here. Now, looking at someone like Kayla Charles, we definitely have seen her do a great job for this Golden State Valkyries team, but we also are expecting her to be able to go over on her line, as she does have a pretty good usage rate in multiple departments. Now, looking at, her last 5 games, we definitely see some pretty interesting matchups. We do see on the 25th, faced off against Atlanta, had a 68-55 win in that matchup, and had 0 points, 8 rebounds, and 3 assists there. Then on the 28th, faced off against Indiana, had a 94-86 loss with 2 points, 4 rebounds, and 3 assists. Then on the 29th, faced off against Washington Mystics, had 6 points, 4 rebounds, and 0 assists there. Then on the 2nd, faced off against Chicago Sky, had a 73-66 win with 5 points, 5 rebounds, and 2 assists there. Then on the 4th, faced off against the Aces, had a 101-77 loss, had 13 points, 6 rebounds, and 2 assists there. So it is pretty interesting to see. Obviously, looking at someone like Kayla Charles, we have seen her face off against Las Vegas Aces recently, and we did actually see her go on the over in all 3 categories, whether it's points, rebounds, and assists. So we are expecting a similar situation coming into this next matchup. Aces are a very poor defensive team, and it's definitely going to show, especially against someone like Kayla Charles, where someone like, or a team like Las Vegas Aces do struggle against her position. So we definitely see her being able to go on the over like she did in last game, and there should be no issue there. So for that reason, keep an eye out for Kayla Charles. I see a lot of value there to go on the over, but it doesn't really matter. You don't really need to focus on any. I think she has a capability to go on the over, whether it's points, rebounds, or assists. Now, looking at the next player, we're going to be talking about Wnba. So as you all know, Aaliyah, great player for the Aces, as we all know. Now, she's done a fantastic job so far this season, averaging 5 points, 1.8 rebounds, 0.5 assists, and also 0.3 steals. So she's definitely done a fantastic job there. Now, coming into this matchup, we do know that, the Las Vegas Aces face off against the Valkyries, as we know. Now, just to quickly reiterate again, we do know Aces come in at the 7th spot in the WNBA, but rank 4th in the Western Conference, while Valkyries rank 8th in the WNBA, but also rank 5th in the Western Conference. Now, Aces have a record of their home games of 8-5 and away games of 7-9, and then Valkyries have a home record of 8-4 and then an away record of 6-10. So we definitely do know where both these teams do stand, very similar. Now, coming into this matchup, we do also know, looking at actually Valkyries again, we do know that they come in at the 2nd spot in points allowed, ranked 5th when it comes to assists allowed, and then also 7th when it comes to rebounds allowed. So coming into this next one, obviously Valkyries do rank a little bit high in that points. Now, when it comes to rebounds and assists, however, we actually have seen Valkyries really struggle there. But coming into this matchup, we do actually like the over for someone like Alaya, but strictly just in the rebounds and assist department. Now, a big reason being is not only do Golden State Valkyries do struggle against, rebounds and assists in general, but Alaya Nye does run that position pretty well, or her position pretty well, that we are expecting someone like her to be able to go over on her line, as Golden State Valkyries do struggle against her position. Now, looking at Nye over the last 5 games, we definitely have seen her play some pretty interesting matchups. We saw her face off against Minnesota Lynx, had a 109-78 loss with 7 points, 3 rebounds, and 0 assists there. Then on the 28th, faced off against Dallas, had a 106-80 win with actually 3 points, 3 rebounds, and 0 assists there. Then again on the 30th, faced off against LA Sparks, had an 89-74 win with 3 points, 2 rebounds, and 0 assists. Then on the 3rd, faced off against Minnesota Lynx, had a 111 or 111-58 loss with 6 points, 2 rebounds, and also 1 assist. Then on the 4th, faced off against Golden State Valkyries, had a 101-77 win with actually 8 points, 6 rebounds, and 1 assist there. So it is pretty interesting to see. Now, obviously, looking at something like Alaya Nye, we have definitely seen her do well, at occasions. Now, we did actually see in that most recent game against Golden State Valkyries, she was able to go on the over in her rebounds and assist line pretty easily, and they actually smashed her rebounding line as well. So we are expecting a similar outcome coming into this next game. So definitely keep an eye out for Alaya Nye. I see a lot of value there for her to go on the over, especially in the rebounding and assist category.